or elsewhere during this holiday. So, Mo'adim l'simcha to everyone, and let's get started on quadruped, which is also known as all fours. If you prefer, you can start in a chair. So we're going to start with child pose. You can always take your blanket under your knees or behind your knees to create some space. And if you're in the chair, you can just sit and lean forward, forearms to the thighs, and that achieves what we're going for in child pose. So if the hips can reach, if the buttocks can reach the heels, that's great. And if not, don't worry, you can take some version of puppy like this with the buttocks up is just fine. The main thing is let's all walk the fingers forward and lengthen the crown of the head forward as you drag your tailbone back, lengthen back. Find this, this two-directionality length. And then you can lay your forehead down on a block or on the mat. Wag your tail a little bit. Get a little movement in your hips as you lengthen through the spine. Breathe here, fill the back ribs. See if you can access some amount of widening for the low back. And then walk the arms over toward the right, as well as the torso. Lengthen, especially through that left arm, left fingertips open through the whole left side of the body. Rib cage. Armpit. Lengthening, breathing. And then walking through center and over towards the left, extend, especially through that right arm. And then make your way back to center and back up to neutral. We'll take a little bit of cat-cow. So inhaling, lift the sitting bones, widen the collarbones, take the gaze forward, arching, and as we exhale, navel to the spine, let the tailbone and crown come down. Nice C curve here. Round that back. Inhale, lengthen, arch to whatever extent works for you. And exhale, curl. Really dome that mid-back. So just going back and forth, linking your own breath with movement here in your own body. See how smooth you can make it. Making space for the discs, nourishing the spinal fluid. It's really one of the best things you can do for yourself on a daily basis. And then come back to center and we'll thread the needle. So if you're seated in the chair, you'll just take the right arm across your body and hold it with the left. If you're on the floor, you're going to inhale the right arm out to the right and then exhale, thread it behind the left wrist, lay it down. Take any amount of twist here that feels comfortable for you. And touch in with any sensation, shoulders, between the shoulder blades. You can take any arm variation you like with the left arm. You can send it up toward the ceiling. You can internally rotate, take behind your back. Or you can just keep the fingertips on the floor. And breathing here. And then slowly unraveling, come on up, pause, and we'll take the other side. Inhale the left arm to the left, and exhale, thread it behind the right. Lay the shoulder down. If this is uncomfortable, on your neck in any way, right? You can just stay seated and bring the arm across the body. And again, any variation you'd like with the right hand. And then slowly come on out. And lastly, draw the navel to the spine. Really knit the ribs toward each other. Engage the core. And take the right leg back behind you. Flex the foot. The heel is at sitting bone height. Right, and make sure you don't open the pelvis, right? Pelvis is square, both hip points pointing down. So you're really engaging the core, lengthening heel to crown. And then bend the knee, point the toes, and then extend, flex, and again like that. Bend, point, extend, flex. Very stable, and then come on down, right? So no movement for the low back, the hips. We're staying really stable as we extend that left leg back, heel in line with sitting bone. Flex through the foot, extend. So simultaneously extending through the heel and the crown. And then point the toe as you bend. Flex, extend. Hips even. Point, bend, flex, extend, drawing the navel in, lengthening, and then come on down. Very nice. You can, lastly, just walk the hands forward a little bit. Turn the fingers out diagonally a little bit so you make some space for the shoulders and drag the tailbone back. Lengthen the spine. You can lay the forehead down. So you can be here, or if you prefer, tuck the toes. And you can come to a downward facing dog and just pedal out the feet a little bit. If you're wanting something a little more active, you'll take the down dog. And if you're just a little more quiet in the body, you'll take it down here. And then whenever you're ready, you can come on down. You could rest in child pose or just sit and observe the breath a little bit. I want to just share a little bit. So we're in the middle of the Sukkot holiday, of course, and Wednesday is Hoshana Rabbah, and depending on your practice, Reform will have Shmini Atzeret Simchat Torah in one on Thursday, and others will have Shmini Atzeret Thursday, Simchat Torah Friday. So we come to another cycle. We come to the end of this cycle. We've been talking about Sukkot as Man Simchatenu, the time of our joy. And again, we have Simchat Torah. We dance with joy with the Torah. We celebrate the inner work that we've done, the tshuva and the cheshbon hanefesh, the return, the accounting of ourselves, of our hearts, of our souls that we've done over this whole period. And now we re-emerge, right? And we come again, we read the end of the Torah cycle, Moses' final blessing to the Israelites in Vizot HaBracha, and we start again with Bereshit, and then through this weekend, Shabbat Bereshit. So what is being renewed? What is transforming? How can we dance with Torah and with study this year, right? And Torah is not perfect and we're not perfect. How can we dance with our own truth and our own selves? I want to bring a little bit of attention here to a beautiful poem I was reminded of by the great Israeli poet Yehuda Amichai, a little bit of a interpretation of Kohelet, of Ecclesiastes, which we read on this holiday. It's called A Man Doesn't Have Time. And I'm very aware that we're having a second commemoration of October 7th in our Jewish calendar, and that's on Shmini Atzeret, Simchat Torah. And that, so we're not really through that sort of grief period. We've been really amidst it. And as a few of you highlighted, there's a lot of tension perhaps around the election. And so how do we hold simcha, our joy, in the midst of what's also difficult? So I want to share with you this poem. Rachel will put it on the screen, and I'll share the link with you as well for afterwards so you can have it. Yehuda Amichai. A man doesn't have time in his life to have time for everything. He doesn't have seasons enough to have a season for every purpose. Ecclesiastes was wrong about that. A man needs to love and to hate at the same moment, to laugh and cry with the same eyes, with the same hands to throw stones and to gather them, to make love in war and war in love, and to hate and forgive and remember and forget, to arrange and confuse, to eat and to digest what history takes years and years to do. A man doesn't have time. When he loses, he seeks. When he finds, he forgets. When he forgets, he loves. When he loves, he begins to forget. And his soul is seasoned. His soul is very professional. Only his body remains forever an amateur. It tries and it misses, gets muddled, doesn't learn a thing, drunk and blind in its pleasures and its pains. He will die as figs die in autumn, shriveled and full of himself and sweet, the leaves growing dry on the ground, the bare branches pointing to the place where there's time for everything. It's really just a beautiful and important poem, right? That we have so many things coming at us at once, so many different tensions, sometimes opposing things, and we're not just in one purpose and one purpose and one purpose, but how do we hold on to these many strands? So I think that's the question: how do we dance fluidly, holding space for all of it? So let's stand. I'd like to kind of address in our practice a little bit today how we build strength and hold resilience and balance at the same time. That's kind of how I'm taking this teaching, as I like to do, into the body. Okay, so just finding an easy mountain pose to start. And the feet can either be together or hip width apart. Take your palms and turn them to face forward. Spread your fingers. Right, so right away when you do that, we get an external rotation of the whole arm, which helps to open and widen the collarbones and to place the shoulder blades squarely on the back. Notice where's your gaze, and see if you can bring it in line with your chin and lengthening of the back, so that you, even if you have a wall very close to you, that there's a sense of looking out to the horizon and really having a sense of all your peripheral vision, with alertness and with softness. So as you continue to renew that external rotation of the arm bones and that opening of the palms like sunlight, see if you can find a softness, a steadiness within the alertness. Easy breathing. Great. And then from here, we're going to grab one block. If you don't have a block, that's no problem. If you do have a block, place it between the legs. We're going to squeeze on the block. The feet are hip width. And we're going to take a seat in a chair, or not, I mean chair pose, not an actual chair, although you can do it at the edge of the chair if you want. The idea here is really scaffolding the core as we go. So inhale the arms up, shoulder height, palms facing each other. And then exhale, sit it back as if you are sitting into a chair. You can decide how low you'd like to go. The tailbone is lengthened. The spine is lengthened, especially from the lower ribs to the tailbone. Make length. We're maintaining the curves of the spine, really long here, squeezing on that block, building some heat, Thighs maybe are shaking a little. See if you can lift your toes even. If you'd like, you can bring arms up by the shoulders. That might be a little more than you want on your shoulders and stress on your neck. So you decide, and then press into the feet to stand up and bring the arms down. Take a pause. Maybe the breath was hastened a little by that. You can start to just bring your breathing, quiet it down a little bit, and we'll take it again in a moment. Just finding that soft focus. Inhale the arms, shoulder height, palms facing. Exhale, knitting the rib cage, sitting it down. Lifting the 10 toes, lifting the chest, the heart. See where you want your arms to be. Maybe it's long and by the ears, and maybe it's shoulder height. Use your breath. You got this. Couple more breaths. Squeeze that block. Press into the feet and come on up. Nicely done. So we got some strength here for the thighs, the hips, the glutes, the core. And now we're going to move into a balance pose. So if you want to be against a wall or near a wall or chair, you can go ahead. I'm going to shift over to the right leg as the standing leg and lift the left leg. A few options here. You could just put the toe on a block if you just want to practice balance here like this, right? Or you can hold under the left thigh, or you can draw the knee up towards your chest and hold the shin, clasp hands. So see that you don't sit into that right hip, but that you really draw it in toward the midline. Press up through the crown as you stamp down through the foot. If you fall, just come on back in. So can you make this stable enough to really support the container of you, but with some resilience and ease? And then release. And we'll take the other side. So shifting over. Again, you could be here, the toes, and work on your balance here. Or you could bring the knee up to hip height. Just drop the thigh into the hands. Or you can draw the knee up more fully. Clasp hands to the shin. And again, really drawing that left hip into the midline. Pressing the foot down. Find a soft gazing point. Easy, smooth, steady breaths. So we're really holding multiple things here, just like the poem suggests, right? There's the effort of the balance, there's the strength of standing on one leg, there's finding the core, and then there's just finding that ease through it all. When you're ready, you can release. And shake out the legs, the hips a little bit. We're going to take a wide stance here. The feet are turned out, facing the corners, the edges of the mat. We're just going to bend and straighten a couple times. Little second position plie for the dancers out there. So what have we got here? The toes are turned out, the knees are going in the direction of the toes, and the torso is just a plumb line coming down. We want to see that the knees don't fall in. We follow this line, coming up and down a little bit, some core strength, and then you can go down and stay, if you like, a couple breaths. We're just building some strength and some heat. So any way you want to do this. And you're really working with the earth here. You're really pushing the floor away as you come up and surrendering to it as you come down. Right, so there's a sense of real engagement through the thighs, through the glutes, even as you come up and press away. So just finding any way here that you'd like to build some heat, whether it's staying or whether it's moving. And keep the breath flowing, keep the breath moving. And then come on up. And we're going to take the legs nice and wide. We're going to go into warrior two here to the right. So turning left toes in and right toes out. Front heel in line with the back arch. The hands can be to the hips or they can be extended at shoulder height. And feel isometrically that you're pressing down with the hands as if you had two very large physio balls, one on each side. Inhale here. Exhale and bend through that right knee, gazing over the right fingertips. Right, so we started to build the strength and now we're settling into it, finding the line of the inner legs, seeing how we're doing in the hips this morning. The back leg is straight. Radiating the arms out from the center of the chest. And then as you're ready, press the floor away to come on up. Turn the feet. And we'll go to the other side. Inhale the arms up, shoulder height, or have them at your hips. Exhale, bend through that left knee. Warrior two. Refine the pose, find your alignment points. You can even bring up a smile, lift the corners of your mouth. It's not so serious. And then press the floor away to come on up. Turn both feet forward and even a little bit in. You might take your stance even a little bit wider. We're going to take a wide leg forward fold, hands to the hips. Inhale, lift the heart up as you draw the elbows back. And exhale, fold forward, long spine. So either you might want to take your blocks in front of you, right? Or you may be bringing the hands down to the floor, depending on what the hamstrings will allow. Draw the thighs back in space, lengthen the tailbone back and the crown forward. Good, maybe this is your full expression of the pose today right here. You can stay right here. Or if you're wanting to fold fully, inhale and lengthen, and then exhale. Drop the crown of the head toward the floor or to the floor, maybe to a block. Fingertips in line with the toes, elbows drawing toward each other, 90 degrees. Good. See that your weight is balanced over the middle of the foot, that you're not hanging back into your heels or hanging back into your hamstrings. Really support with the bones, right? And not hanging into the muscles or the tendons or ligaments. That's really important. If you've taken a full fold, come back to the 90 degrees. We'll all meet there. We'll take the hands to the hips. Press the feet down and inhale to lift up. Exhale, come back to center. Step or jump the feet apart. Okie dokie. So take those blocks, one to either side if you've got them. We're going to come down to the floor with the right foot forward and the left foot back. Bring the left knee down to the floor and just come to a low lunge. Good. And you want to be a little forward of your kneecap so you're not right on your kneecap here. And on the front leg, the right ankle is below the right knee. The knee does not come past the ankle. Right? So if your knee is coming past your ankle, just step your foot a little bit forward. If you'd like, tuck your back toes and lift the back knee. Find this length to the low lunge here. You can even rock a little forward and back. And the blocks can be on any of 3 levels, right? So you can decide what level you want to be on. And what they help to do is bring the floor up so that we can widen the collarbone, lift the chest, find length, right? So that we're not hunched over. So they really are quite helpful. Inhale here. And then as you exhale, draw the hips back, draw the right leg into length. Maybe you're straightening all the way through the leg and take that right hip crease back in space. So hips are even. You might feel like you have to square off a little by drawing the right hip back and the left hip forward a little bit. The back heel is up. So both legs straight, long spine. And then bending once again, coming into that low lunge. Inhale here. And then exhale, draw the hips back once again, straighten. And we're just finding that square hips, wide across the sacrum, drawing the navel in, long spine. Good, and then bend once again. And step the back foot forward to meet the right. Walk the blocks a little bit forward, lengthen the spine, flat back. Good. And then switching sides by taking the right foot back in space, bringing the right knee down to the floor, low lunge. Again, you can rock the hips a little bit, side to side, forward, back. Tuck the back toes, lift the back knee. Continue to widen the collarbones and shine the chest forward. Inhale here, and exhale, begin to draw the hips back, straighten through the left leg. And again, see about that squaring of the hips, perhaps drawing the left hip back a little more, letting the right hip come forward a little more. See what you need to do to square off here. And a variation, if even having the blocks on the highest is too low for you, you can have hands to a chair or a table. Right? So anything it takes to make this feel stable and accessible to you, that's the right yoga pose for you. And that's part of our discernment in this practice. And then bend through the left knee. Once again, find the low lunge. And straighten the leg, draw the hips back. Bend, one more time, and step the back foot forward. Walk the blocks a little bit forward so that the blocks are right under, the wrists are right under the shoulders. Spine is long. You could stay here, or if you'd like, come into a full fold. Taking the hands down to the shins or to the floor to either side of the foot. And then bend the knees, coming to a bit of a ragdoll, and then keep bending. We're going to come down to the floor. So all the way down to the floor, and you might want the blanket under the back of your head, perhaps. Come down to constructive rest. Knees are bent. The soles of the feet on the floor. The heels are in line with the sitting bones. The elbows are bent out to the sides, and the palms are resting right on the hip bones, on the hip points. So you can ground them with a little heaviness with the hand. And just allow your spine to reorient to the ground. Keep the eyes open, alert and soft. Good. So let's build a little bit of resilience for the core, for the pelvis, by just doing a little bit of anterior posterior tilt of the pelvis. So here we are in neutral spinal curves. There's some room between the spine and the floor. We inhale here in neutral, and as we exhale, navel to spine, press the lower back down so that you have the whole spine in contact with the mat, no light. Fully exhale, hold the air out, engage the core, and then inhale, come back to neutral. Couple breaths here. Just feeling that difference. And once again, inhale, fill the belly, side ribs. Exhale, navel to spine, press down, tailbone lengthens away. We're really scooping out the abdomen here, lengthening, engaging the core, lengthening the low back. Exhale, 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 exhale. And then inhale, come back to neutral. So back and forth like this a little bit. Exhale and press down. Really lengthen and hold out the breath, and then inhale, come back to neutral. Back and forth a few times. So we're just finding some flexibility, resilience in the internal part of that abdomen. And then coming back to neutral. So really claiming that neutral place. Corset the ribs, really engage here without tightening. And draw the right knee in toward the chest, give it a hug. And then flex through the left foot as if you're digging in sand. Just draw that line from sitting bone straight forward as you lengthen through the heel, lengthen through the leg. And so here, notice the crease in the hip fold in the right, as well as the core engagement and the lengthening through that left leg. And then bring it back, release, take the other side, hug the left in. And so we're not floppy through the middle. There's a certain amount of engagement. Flex through the foot on the right, and again, digging in sand, lengthen it forward. Just like we did standing, right? And then come on back, and on your own, take each side one more time. And really be aware of the back against the floor, the position of the hips, keep them even, and the length from the heel to the crown. Come on back to neutral, knees bent. Take the right ankle, cross it over left knee, figure four, ankle just above the knee, and then bring this whole structure in. Flex through that right foot as you draw in. So finding where you meet sensation at your edge here, and you create it just as you need, right? By the amount that you pull in with the whole structure here, and then you can also, if you'd like, use your right forearm to press against your right thigh, even as you pull the left leg in, to create a little more resistance, if you'd like. If you'd like to juice it up a little bit, that's your ticket. Right, so I think of this a little bit of the microcosm of, how do we hold the pain, the tension, the anxiety of the moment we're in, of things that are coming, with just balancing a little spaciousness. There's a lot going on in my right hip. right? There's a lot of sensation, a lot to observe, a lot there. It's fairly intense. And the rest of myself, can I cultivate calm, curiosity? Release when you're ready and take the other side. Like, okay, see what's happening here. You know, without pushing it away, how can I relate to it and to other things that are going on? Where do I need to take action? Where do I need to take rest? So finding your edge place on the other side, where there's just the right amount of sensation in that left hip, that left glute. No pain, no strain in the knee. And then when you're ready, release. Just shake out the legs a little bit. A couple more things. Want to just do, again, some strength building here. So we're going to do some stabilizers here. Draw your right knee up to tabletop. The shin is parallel with the ceiling. Take your right hand to your right thigh. Press the hand to the thigh as you press the thigh to the hand. So build some resistance here. Engage the core. Count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release and inhale. Exhale, engage. Release, inhale. Exhale, engage. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, release. 2 more. Exhale, engage. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, release. Exhale, engage. And release. Other side. Right, so it's getting the thigh, the hip, deep into the hip, and it's getting the abs. So left hand to left thigh, the shin is parallel to the ceiling. Take an inhale, exhale, engage. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, release. Exhale, engage. Easy jaw, easy throat. 3, 2, 1. Neck is easy. Inhale. Exhale, engage. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale, engage. Inhale, release. Last one. Exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, release. Bonus, if you'd like to try both legs, just do one. Inhale, exhale, press thighs to hands, hands to thighs. And release. Give a little hug to the knees, little rocking side to side. And to finish up a twist, and I'll offer you 3 ways to do it. You can extend right leg, bend left knee, bring it across the body. That's 1. 2 is both knees in and over to the side. And 3, if you're really open in the hips and low back, you'll cross left over the right, like you're just crossing your legs and bring the whole thing over to the right side. So you choose any one of those 3, just taking a lying twist. Balancing out the practice and the movements of the spine, and then come on up when you're ready and switch sides. And then when you're ready, come on back to center. Once again, give the knees a little bit hug. And then find stillness. So it could be constructive rest, knees bent, soles of the feet to the floor. Could be lengthening out, legs, arms, palms facing up. Maybe you'd like fetal position on your side, or you'd like to roll the blanket up and put it under your knees. Just finding something comfortable for a couple minutes of quiet. If you have time for a little more rest time today, feel free to turn the video off and come back to your day as you're ready. You're coming back to your day now. Just start to wiggle fingers and toes. Give yourself a nice full yawn sigh. And make your way up to a comfortable seat. Wishing you beautiful rest of Chol HaMoed and Chagim at the end as we complete our cycle. Just a noticing of what you are holding, what time exactly you are finding yourself in, and wishing you the strength and resilience to connect with yourself powerfully during this time. We send the benefit of our practice out to others as we close. If there's anyone in your immediate world who needs healing, sending loving wishes to all of those people, and further out into your communities and all on the planet who are suffering in so many places, in so many ways. And as our liturgy offers us on Mondays, and as we have been doing all year, we pray for the 101 hostages in Gaza. Please feel free to join me with the words of Achenu, or just listen as we pray for their safety and their return home. Achenu kol beit Yisrael, Achyoteinu kol beit Yisrael, Hanetunim b'tzara ubashivya, Haomdim ben bayam uven bayabasha. Hamakom yerachem aleim, yotziem mitzara lirevacha, umeafel leora umishibud ligeula, hashta bagala uvizman kariv. Hashta ba'agala uvizman kariv v'nomar amen. Amen. We hold them in our hearts. Thank you all for practicing today. Shavua Tov, Moadim L'Simcha. If practice today or any of your practice time with IJS has been meaningful to you, I encourage you to make a donation to IJS in any amount. It all is helpful to us in continuing to provide these free resources to you. Again, please note the many things that are available upcoming, in particular, of course, the Awaken class, the class with Tirza Firestone on healing intergenerational trauma, and the text study, 2 different tracks, and of course the LGBTQ plus sit this Wednesday. So lots and lots of things. In addition, I will be leading a retreat at Kripalu Center for Yoga and Health in Western Massachusetts, in Stockbridge at Kripalu. And please consider joining me. That's December 12th to 15th. And Rachel will put that information into the chat as well. It's a wonderful opportunity to have Shabbat. It's very close to a couple weeks before Hanukkah. We'll be studying and preparing for Hanukkah and having Shabbat together, really enjoying in a setting where there's good food and good hiking and good yoga. So if you have any questions on today's practice, on anything that we did, or reflections, how things landed in your own body, any questions, please feel free to use the hand-raising function or to place a question in the chat. And then also we have the link to the poem, the Yehuda Amichai poem. Kathy.
Okay. Yes, thank you so much for the practice and the poem. I was reading something that a rabbi put out about, can we really celebrate Simchas Torah? You know, and speaking of holding different postures at the same time and different feelings and emotions with what's going on right now. He told the story of a rabbi who was called up during the Yom Kippur War to collect bodies of the fallen soldiers. And he was asked about Simchas Torah. It was during Simchas Torah. And he said, you know, that they still celebrated Simchas Torah, that with tears in their eyes and joy in their hearts, you know, holding these 2 things at once, that, you know, the commandment was to celebrate this time. And so I was really taken with that story and thought it was appropriate for right now for us.
Thank you for sharing that. Exactly. It's like, can we, and sometimes we can't hold both. And I want to also hold that lightly and say, if you can't, you can't. And we can't always push ourselves to be with 2 things at once. But to the extent that I think even for those who are suffering, we can follow the cycle of our year with them in mind and for them too. It's important.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Linda Shivers.
So I don't usually have this problem, but today when we did the downward dog for just a few seconds, my hands were slipping.
So just some thoughts on how to work with that. Is that the question? How to not have your hands slip?
Right.
It could be the mat. Sometimes some mats slip more than others. Sometimes it can be nice to hold on to the edges of the mat. Mm-hmm. And then you have kind of a place to hold. It also helps with opening for your shoulders. And you could also use a chair instead of the mat, and you get the same benefit for the arms. So it's some, it depends also just basic how long you've had your mat, because sometimes after a while they lose their stickiness.
Oh,
Yeah, or it could be, sometimes our palms are just a little bit moist, and it could be like sometimes just putting some kind of towel or something, or just wiping them. It also depends on where the pressure is on your body. You can kind of work with your hips and your heels to see where pressure is in your hands, because sometimes they slip there too. Yeah. Judith.
Hi. So this is not, this is about the technical, the postures. I went back to PT for the first time in a long time because I have off and on knee issues. I have a tear in my meniscus on the left leg. But anyway, when I was doing my evaluation with her, I was showing her some of the poses where I tend to lean in a little bit with one leg, this way. That I had sort of duplicated some of what we do in yoga, and she knew yoga poses and she has yoga clients. So one thing she told me that was interesting is she said that I have a lot of overextension in my glutes, which she said where, tightness in the hamstrings, but kind of overextension a bit in the glutes. And that she notices a lot of people who do yoga, that often happens, from like doing it sort of too much of an angle, and that it feels good, but that over time, she suggested trying to back off of it a little bit, like being more careful to have my leg a little bit more in line instead of out so much. I mean, maybe that was just me, but it was interesting. So I was like doing that today to see what that was like. And the other thing she told me that was interesting was that I wasn't tightening my butt muscles enough, which I thought I was. And when I was caving in, whereas I thought it was my thigh, she said it was actually coming from my butt muscles, that I needed to really work on tightening that. And I really saw a big difference. It was interesting because I didn't realize that I wasn't using them. Just wondered your thoughts on that.
Remind me which pose we're in.
Well, like, I can't really get it here, but this kind of lunge thing where, sorry.
Oh, like a wide leg forward fold or some.
Yeah, or just when one leg is bent, and well, actually in the triangle. Where,
okay, or warrior two or something, right? To engage.
Like,
yeah,
I shouldn't stretch my leg out so far in the back leg, that I was overextending a little bit.
You're kind of losing stability on it. That well could be. I mean, I'm not with you in the room, right? So I'm not seeing the mechanics,
Right.
but I think that if she pinpointed something that feels like it's really working for you, then to absolutely work with it. Again, you know how I always say it's always like cooking, a little oregano, a few pepper flakes, like see what works. And then what can be also interesting is sometimes when we work a thing, like if you're working on tightening up your glutes and tightening up that back leg, you might find maybe you work with this for a few weeks or a month or whatever. And then sometimes we just keep doing it because it's an instruction we got. I'm just kind of reminding myself to tell you this because I think this is an interesting thing to note for all of us. Everything has its potency and usefulness, and also sometimes just a shelf life, because sometimes we'll just continue with an instruction because I was told that I need that, but maybe you'll work with it a month or so, and then you like, okay, I got it now. My body has gotten it. Because next month the instruction could be that you have to loosen your glute a little bit more, so it's finding that balance. But I would say it sounds like what you're doing by bringing the leg in a little bit and tightening up a little more is tightening towards the midline and giving yourself more strength instead of, kind of falling.
Exactly. It was helping that sway.
That's
and
right.
It hadn't occurred to me that that's what I was doing. I thought I was tightening the butt, but I actually really wasn't, because she could feel it. I actually really wasn't. I was tightening the thigh. So it was just interesting to have someone there recognizing that.
Yeah, we always have to find that place between tightening up and softening.
Thanks. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Great. Okay, my friends, thank you for wonderful practice today. Beautiful. Good work. A reminder that there's no IJS sit Thursday or Friday for observance of Chag, and that we will be back next Monday. Bye-bye.